Going live. Live. Did you know the StreamYard is getting an update, a big update? They're like,
Is that to address all the problems that you guys have been having?
oh, jeez. Yeah, it's been
sorry.
nutso. Yeah, it's
Oh, I
been
sure
crazy.
hope that doesn't happen this stream.
What is
Me too.
happening?
I do too. Well, Ron's not going to be here, so it's definitely not happening on that. His was the majority of the issues. Mine had some, but not nearly as many as Ron. And I'm pretty certain it had something to do with the machine, because when he'd do something, when he'd like open up a new window, it would start to do it, and it was like, okay, there's something going on in your machine. He was using a Mac Mini from like 2018 or something, an older Mac Mini, and so he has a new machine now. So the next week, or the next time that he's on when we do it like this, which is actually 2 weeks from now, I'm guessing it'll be fine.
Oh my god, next week is Joy-Con.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Kind of crazy.
Yeah,
Time keeps on ticking.
I haven't had a chance to look through the doc that you put together, but I want to do that this weekend and come up with some questions and stuff like that.
Yeah, I have time and just come across a random dev that wants to talk to us. Like, I don't know. I was thinking something even like dev confessions, like what would you, like, what, something like that, like something funny, like what is it that you kind of don't want but do want to tell users that you do that you should, I don't know, kind of something like that.
Yeah, I love that type of interview.
And then it connects
because they're expecting the same stuff, and you got to have some of the same stuff in there, so that they can kind of get their message, and you can provide the news impact for the people that want to know that stuff. But I love throwing in weird little questions that they aren't expecting. You get some of the best answers that way.
Yeah. We should also just feed them hot sauce, like the Hot Ones interviews, and then they'll be totally off kilter, and then they'd be like, that was my fault, I swear.
That's been done though. What can be our thing? What is
you have
feed
to
them
balance...
something really minty?
Oh, you have to balance Andy on your head. I have an Andy I can bring. They have to balance them Andy on their head while answering questions.
Nice. Okay.
Of course, then if they break my Android,
then they owe you twice its value. So
I like that.
You benefit.
Oh, thank
Jason,
you, Jason.
We just got a super chat.
Yeah,
or whatever that's called.
Yeah, super chat.
From JSol, 1993.
JSol. I thought you were saying my name and you just got it wrong. All right, JSol. JSol, love the show, and I look forward to it every week. By the way, that trifold phone looks amazing. We may talk about that today. JSol, thank you so much. That's
Spoilers, we will.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
How can we not talk about it?
It's in there. Yeah, totally. I guess I gotta save it, but I'm optimistic now.
Oh, BioBreaker super fast. Yeah, I know. I
didn't
Honor,
think
if you're listening, copy that and bring it global.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally. Yeah. I'm very interested in that, actually. But what I want to know though is when you've got it folded up, because the video that we're gonna probably show just a tiny piece of it, but the video the whole way through, he never holds it up and goes this is how thick it is when it's folded. When it's all compressed.
Fortunately, we do know exactly how thick it is.
We do, but I want to see a visual representation of it. Numbers are numbers, but I want to see because even the normal folds that we have, when you've got that in your pocket, you feel that there's a fold in your pocket. It's a wider brick style thing, and they're getting better, but
they are certainly getting better, and we'll talk about one of those devices.
All of those things.
Sense of detail.
Yeah. All right. What is Ron doing? Did he mention it? Is it?
No, I don't remember what he said.
Yeah, I don't remember what he said. So usually my my description in that case is he's gallivanting. That just means I have no clue. he probably mentioned it to us. I just can't remember. But whatever he's doing, he's having fun.
Maybe he's saving time so he can watch the thing that's happening in about an hour. The thing that we shall not mention.
I gotta say, we don't have to mention it, but I do have to say that this show always being on Tuesday night always coincides with big political events like tonight and like the election, and I actually have a small amount of PTSD from 2016 when
Oh, really?
when we ended the show. I specifically remember we ended the show and I had completely forgot that the election stuff was happening, and Ron, like, one of the first things he said was like, "Oh boy, Jason." And I was like, "What?" Just to kind of elated for the show. I was like, "Oh, what?" And, then the reality came crashing down. So I'm like, I don't want to do this show on election night. That's scary.
It would be good. What do you call it? It would be good to support the notion that everyone should get off for election day so that everyone can have time and opportunity to vote. So something to consider for later. That maybe we could, like, I don't know. But then, then we wouldn't, I don't know. We're weekly, so we'll see. Anyway.
Okay, so someone's saying that my audio is crackling. I'm turning down the volume. I don't know if it's I'm pushing the gain too much and it's crackling. So I'm testing that right now. Tay, Clinton, let me know. I turned down the volume a little bit. I can then boost up the signal that I'm giving StreamYard in the StreamYard interface. But my thought is, if I'm crackling in the interface, turning it down might relieve that. So is it better right now? Clinton says so far so good. Okay, and then let me go.
Yeah, I don't hear any crackling locally, like between us, so it might just be the YouTube stream.
Okay, so they're
saying it sounds better, so
they're saying it sounds better now, so that's good.
Yeah.
But let me also kind of turn it up in the StreamYard interface. It was breaking up, not peaking, and it's breaking up again, says Mike. Okay, so it's doing the thing again, but usually. Like, I know when that was happening to Ron, I could hear it doing the thing.
I can't hear you. I did, for what it's worth, I didn't hear any crackling from you, but I did just leave. So.
Okay. Well. Man, what a bummer that this keeps happening. We have no idea why.
Maybe we'll just switch to another platform. Maybe. I think it was like a Riverside one.
Yeah, I've used Riverside.
I actually had someone from Riverside reach out to me and say, "Hey, you want to talk about what you're using?" I'm like, "No, you're a salesman." But
like,
maybe...
yeah, can you use me for free?
Yeah, exactly. You want to sponsor us, Riverside?
There you go.
We'll use Riverside. This podcast brought to you by Riverside. No, not really. Not really.
No.
Not yet. Not yet.
That's a joke. That was satire.
It's not just Jason's audio, apparently, says Mike. All of you have a very slight crackling. Okay.
Oh,
well,
really?
That makes me at least feel a little better, I suppose, even though it sucks. Because then it's not just me.
Just over there. Thank you, baby.
Well, that sounds refreshing. That's a refreshing sound right there. But go ahead, hold it up to the mic so we hear the little crackles and the bubbles.
That cherry Coke.
Oh, I hear it.
Cherry Coke.
Are we doing an ASMR stream now?
Yes.
The TCL text paper. Oh, sorry, that's a spoiler, but yes, that's.
But doesn't that sound refreshing when you hear it? It's like, oh, it's a hot summer day and I just got a root beer.
If you're in the live stream, let us know if you would like us to do an ASMR version of the show or ASMR news reads for patrons.
Oh my goodness, guaranteed. No,
I would do
guaranteed.
it.
I would
do it.
They will threaten to leave.
Okay, let us know if you'll pay us to not do it. Ah.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, okay, so then how about we'll close the loop here. Reach out to Riverside, those of you in the audience, and tell them to sponsor us. And once they do, we will not do that for you, okay? See?
Oh, Jordan. Jordan says, "Pixel." Oh, Jordan, I can do that. Is that sorry? That's probably just not interesting at all. I'm a little too into this. I'm so sorry.
Oh well, you can always spin up a YouTube channel and start ASMR.
That's how I retired.
ASMR unfolding a pixel fold.
Yeah, right.
The OnePlus Open 2.
Oh, know that foldable that you lent me, Mishaal, that I will just bring back to you. I haven't done anything with it, and at this point, I'm probably not going to. But it's been an interesting little experiment. But when I open it, it totally creaks. So I could do like an ASMR. Oh no, you know what? That would be a great short. Here, introducing the blah blah blah, and all it is just the creaks. Maybe I'll do that. Then I can say I did something with it.
That would be a really fun just video though. Just a not a garbage video, but like whatever foldables we have, just do a super cut of like the closing sounds.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Snap. And that would be easy because I have approximately 0 folding devices. Well, no, I mean, I guess I have the black view, but only for a couple more days. Anyways, should we do a show?
We should do a show. We should do that.
I mean, this has been a fun pre-show, but we also have a show. And then once we get done with the show, then I start the post-show.
The post-po.
Po-po. No,
Not the
not
popo. Don't popo. Just post
Definitely
show.
not the popo. Okay, so let's see here. You good doing the intro and outro today?
Yep,
Win?
top and tail. I got
Top
it.
and tail, as they
I'll
say.
be cool in the industry. Oh, I feel embarrassed now
In
saying
the
that.
instro, yo. I gotta say that. Okay. All right. I'm gonna stop before I embarrass myself even more than I already have. Mishaal, you are removed, and me, I am stop cam, and Huyen, there you are. And now it's a logo, and the music is a coming soon.
Hey everybody, this is Android Faithful, where every week we bring you the latest news, hardware, and apps in the wonderful world of Android. I am Huyen Twitnow.
I'm Jason Howell.
And I'm Mishaal Rahman.
Oh yeah, and there is no Ron Richards today. I mean, he exists. He's just not here.
He's somewhere out there. We love you, Ron.
Somewhere out there. Maybe he's at Disney. Actually, that's not a Disney song. Sorry, that's that.
Oh,
what
that's
song is that? That is
that's
from a cartoon movie.
That's from American Five-O. What is
it?
Yeah.
Not American Dream. An American Tale.
Yes.
Is it American Tale?
Is that
oh,
Blues?
Boy,
whatever the non-Disney.
Yeah,
American
that was
Tale,
definitely
thank you.
a non-Disney film that I'm guessing, Mishaal, you have never seen or heard of before.
I have heard of it, but I have not seen it.
Because you're not old like the rest of us.
I know, right? That is definitely one of those like references that dates a person when they say, "Oh, American Tail. I remember that cartoon movie."
Yep.
Yeah. How's it going, y'all?
How's it going? Answering a question with
Pretty
a
good.
question. It's good.
Good.
Getting ready for next week because we'll all be in New York.
Yeah, big time, big deal.
I'm writing this technical talk, yo, and it's taking up all my free time.
Oh gosh, yeah.
But it'll be
gonna
good.
You're gonna
Busy.
be busier than the rest of us there. I think, right?
Oh, yeah.
But to assuage it, I have my Pixel Watch 3, which you can't see, but it's beautiful, and my
Yes.
new Pixel Fold, and I'm so excited.
You got the new Fold, and you got the larger version of the watch.
I got
When
the
did you get
45
them?
millimeter. I did, and it's not a chunky
Oh.
watch; it's a wide watch.
Just noticed looks like Gemini activated on your phone. It was picking up what we were saying.
Oh damn! I'm sorry. Go away.
Don't worry,
Oh,
it's going to
damn.
give you a summary at the end of the podcast.
Gemini, do the Android Faithful.
Doesn't have
podcast
that
for
2
me.
million context window. I could probably take everything we're saying this entire
Totally.
show.
Absolutely. Okay, cover this, cover
Aw.
that. Don't
Look
forget
at
to freak
Gemini
out
being
about-
all helpful and stuff. It's
Uh-huh.
like, I know what you need. You need a transcript of this entire podcast. Could you send that to me actually at the end of the podcast? Because then I'll
Oh,
just
and then
put
the
that-
post-po is
Yeah,
done.
and in
The
the
post-show is
post-production.
done.
That'll be really handy. What do you think so far?
I love it. So I am actually freaking in love. So I was a little concerned about the 45 millimeter, but I did try on my Android show co-host John's because he's got the big one. Dude, I love this. It feels like my whole wrist is a display now. It's hard to describe. I
Some
really
people
love
would
this
see
watch.
that as a downside, though, because it is a very large watch. But
I
I
am,
think
yeah.
it looks really great on your wrist.
It does. It's flat. So the problem that I think a lot of us thin wrist crew have is that with a chunky watch, it just doesn't rest because the whole band is really thick. But the phone, the watch itself is extremely thin, so it rests pretty flat on my wrist.
Yeah.
And yeah, look at this. My wrist is all display, and the bezels are smaller. I mean, I think they said, I watched the promo videos again, that this Pixel Watch 3 45 millimeter is 45% larger. The display, like the usable display, is larger than the Pixel Watch 2, and
Wow.
you really feel it. Like I look down, and it's just, it's a small screen on my wrist. It's not that immersive, y'all, but it just feels like a huge upgrade. I'm excited AF about it.
Are you coming from the Pixel Watch 2?
Yeah, I am.
So you had the smaller one before.
I did, and I still like that one. And there is, it was really good. I really kind of fell in love with wearables with the Pixel Watch 2, but wow, like I think they did a great job, y'all. I'm really into it. I can't wait to use it. I probably still won't wear it when I work out because no way am I letting like a 20-kilogram kettlebell hit this at all.
Kettlebell would do, yeah.
Yeah, and even like if I flipped it around,
that would be ugly.
That'd be ugly. But I actually forgot when I went to Seattle last weekend, which is why I wasn't with y'all. I was at PAX, and I forgot to take my Pixel Watch 2, and I missed it. I missed having the watch notifications and maps on my wrist. So I'm excited. Going to New York, gonna try it out. I love it, and yeah.
It is interesting to me though, because of all the people that I know, you're one of the most driven fitness-y, people that I know. And yet you're saying here that you're probably not going to wear that for fitness, even though it has all of this like crazy fitness capability. And I mean, I get the reason why. I totally get it, but that's just kind of a bummer.
It is. I might wear it when I do non-slamming weight slamming against the back of my wrist activities. I would maybe dancing, rowing, and anything that I'm doing where it's like literally the kettlebell, like literally when I do cleans, the kettlebell comes up and smacks the back of my wrist.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. So I and that's the hard part though, because there is a lot of really beautiful fitness tracking, like a lot more of like kind of like the advanced features that you would see on a Garmin or a Whoop. They're in Fitbit. They're in this Google Watch. So I might do it for comparison, but I just love this watch too much to damage it. I mean, so that I guess from that, if you want to take a positive from that, take it from a person who is a fitness nut and loves fitness data. I still want this watch. I still love this watch, even though maybe the main functionality or the main marketed features of it I'm not using. So there you go. I still love it.
One of the bumps I'm now realizing is that the Pixel Watch 3 does not have sapphire glass. And that's one thing that the OnePlus Watch 2 has. Because initially I was thinking in my head, I was like, oh, but it's sapphire glass. You'll be fine. But I just looked it up and it's not sapphire. And even then, I don't know that sapphire glass would stand up to a kettlebell slamming on your wrist, but still be better than not. It's probably it's probably a Victus or something like that. I honestly don't know.
Someone should do tests on that. Maybe I should. There's that one reviewer who does smart wearable or wearable reviews. I should be like, sir, could you try dropping weights on the watches as part of a durability test?
Yes. No, this is a channel that you could start. It's like jerry rig everything, but with a fitness edge to it. Like you drop your kettlebell like 10 times on the watch on the floor and see what it looks like at the end. I think you've got something.
That would be kind of funny to take it take a sacrificial one to a gym. Be like, hey bros, hey girls and bros, figure it out. Like try it. Yeah. Would definitely need a sponsor for that one. Yeah, it better be a gold mine because we're going through you go through devices like nuts. But yeah, I know we got a lot of really cool stuff, but Pixel Fold, I was in love with it. And made by Google, still freaking in love with it, dude. I took it out the box and I was like, yes.
Jelly.
Yeah, and it actually. So another funny story is like my husband was like, "Oh, is that your new Pixel Fold?" He picked it up and went, "Oh,
I get it.
Maybe it's my Pixel Fold now."
Exactly. I was like, "Okay, baby, come back, give it back." You
can use my Pixel Fold every once in a while if you want to, I guess.
Well, he got a Pixel 9 Pro, and he's like, "Oh, this is tempting." I was like, "You already got your new phone. Stop it. We got to eat and pay a mortgage." But yeah, anyway, maybe like I can give a little more in depth in a couple weeks or something, or maybe as a sign next week. But yeah, love it.
Please
Sorry,
do.
we got more cool stuff to see, but Win is drowning in hardware today, and she's happy about it. So
we got a lot to talk about, and I know it's just so exciting. You got two major devices on a week that Apple announced a bunch of its major devices, and we can see if you're watching the video version that Mishaal is very excited about the Apple announcements. He's wearing an Apple shirt for those who can't see the video. Just gonna call you out, Mishaal.
I'm doing it ironically, obviously.
It's okay. I work on an Apple device. I just don't have iPhone. Or use iPhone, so it's all right. I like the shirt personally.
And we like our Apple.
It is a nice shirt.
Yeah, it is a great shirt.
It is. All right, should we get into some news? Because I'm looking through this rundown and I'm realizing We got a lot in here.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some parts of this where we're going to have to skip through a little bit quick on some of these stories. But let's not do that with this first story, especially because it's now officially time to start talking about Android 16. Yes, Android 15 just came out to AOSP. It hasn't even hit Pixel devices yet. But Android 16, this guy named Mishaal Rahman was writing about it on Android Authority. It's kind of funny that I'm setting up your story. But apparently, we got some news here that there is going to be some changes to the notification and quick settings kind of area, which happened initially not too long ago, 2021. I feel like when I read through this article that you wrote, Mishaal, who's also co-host on the show, I was reading through it and I was like, God, doesn't this happen like every year? I feel like every year it's like, oh, major changes coming to the notification shade. But why is it different this time?
Well, because it hasn't been every year that they changed the notification shade in the quick settings. The last time they did it was Android 12. And there are a couple of people who don't really like big oval-shaped quick settings for like the internet, the Bluetooth.
Yeah.
And then when you pull it down, you don't really get that many tiles to actually deal with. Like you see a total of 8. You got to swipe pages to actually see more. And at the same time, because when you initially pull down the status bar, you share some space with the quick settings and the notifications, you kind of sacrifice the amount of space you have for showing notifications and showing, because you have to show some of those quick settings at the very top. So what Google is working on is they're working on a total overhaul to the notifications and the quick settings panel. And what I enabled is very, very early. It's like half working. Things aren't working. There's a light theme mode, and that's not working at all. It's like all the text kind of missing, and a lot of the icons for the quick settings tiles are missing. But what I enabled is they're basically considering splitting the notification and the quick settings shade into 2 separate pages. So when you pull down once, you get the full notification panel that expands and shrinks as you get notifications and you dismiss notifications. And this is the most controversial part, and I don't know if it's going to be the case if this new design rolls out. But in order to access the full quick settings panel now, you have to pull down the status bar with 2 fingers. You have to do this. You can't swipe between the pages like you can on HyperOS on Xiaomi, for example. And you can't see any notification. You can't see any quick settings in the notification panel. You can only access them if you pull down with 2 fingers. And as I just mentioned, this is a very early work in progress. I don't know if this is going to be the final behavior. Google is still clearly heavily prototyping this. But there are some benefits to this split approach, having the notifications and the quick settings on 2 separate pages. Well, one, the notifications, you can show more notifications since there's no space being taken up by quick settings. And the quick settings design, since it's all dedicated to itself, there's no notifications, you can show way more quick settings. Like on the video that Jason is playing right now, you can have like 16 or even more than that, because a lot of the quick settings are now smaller versions instead of the full length ovals like they used to be. So this is a design that Google is working on. I know for sure they are definitely working on overhauling the notifications and quick settings, because there's work in AOSP and in the latest Android betas that suggests they're completely rewriting the system UI, lock screen, the notifications panel, using Wynn's favorite term, Jetpack Compose.
Drink.
They are also re-architecting the way it works under a project called FlexiGlass. And that's why in the videos, there's like this little tiny red overlay on the bottom right corner that says like Flexi and has a glass. Like this is the code name for the project. So they are working on overhauling it. What I showed the other day is a early look at what it could be like, but I don't know if that's going to be the final design.
Yeah. Can I? Okay. So 2 things. I feel like I've seen the 2-finger pull down for this sort of thing before. I can't remember where, but I feel like it was a long time ago.
You can already actually, since like for a long time, you already can use 2 fingers to pull down the status bar, and it'll immediately pull down the full quick settings.
The full screen.
You can already do that. Yeah, you can already do that right now.
Okay,
but
that's what it is.
What the difference in this test is that you have to do that if you want to access the quick settings, and that's the controversial part. that's the part that I don't know for sure if that's going to be the actual case, because I think that would be bad for accessibility.
I think so. Like what comes to mind for me, like accessibility, great point. What comes to mind for me and my own usability is I am often using one hand to navigate my phone, and if I want to take a look at the notification shade, all I have is my thumb. If I try and use two fingers, the phone hits the floor. And if that goes away, then that just removes my ability to do that one-handedly. Like, is it the end of the world? No, but it's something. That's kind of a bummer.
Over gestiferication. I
Over
also, I mean, also like, I think it's so, it feels a bit hidden. I know that there's probably going to be,
Yeah.
if this comes out, which I really hope it doesn't. It also just bothers me the fact that, as you said, Mishaal, there's no option to page between. Like, is that it? Like, so that's it. You, as it is now, you just do the double swipe down or the single. It just feels so narrow, and it's countering, a freaking decade of, people being used to, accessing things in a certain way. It drives me nuts. And I just, anyway, hope it doesn't come to pass, or at least that they work in a little more wiggle room for how to get to things. Like, just leave the paging in there. Fine. Leave the double finger down. But I guess then if you page it, I don't know. It's a hard problem, but I don't like the solution. So I don't know if I'm that.
And at the same time, change is always hard. When we're used to one thing and then we have to consider a different way of doing it. It's
Get off my lawn.
on the flip side, like to be fair to this change, is there have been many times where a change has been proposed or implemented and we immediately freak out about it. And then a couple of months down the line, we're used to it and couldn't imagine going the other way. So, I know a lot of people who swore gesture navigation was the worst thing ever to come to phones. And I'm almost certain they all use gesture navigation now, and it's no big deal. So who knows? Maybe we get used to it, but interesting. Well, what about now? Like, that's Android 16. That's a then problem. What about a now thing, Mishaal?
So if you're upgrading to Android 15 and you value the security of your data and you don't want thieves getting away with snatching your phone and being able to wipe and resell it, Android 15 is upgrading Android's factory reset protection feature to make it even harder for thieves to resell your phone after they steal it. So,
is this a
factory
thief,
reset
by the way,
protection,
in the
by the way?
photo? Is that a thief?
The
right
thief?
there?
The thief? Oh, do you see that green, that adorable little buddy?
The squishy
Got
green
one right here.
Android
The squishy
plushie.
little green plushie you can get from Google's merchandise store. This is so adorable. If you like Android, get one.
Sorry, couldn't resist.
Moving back to the story. So, factory reset protection, if you aren't aware, basically it's a feature that forces you to sign in to the Google account that was associated with the device before it was factory reset, or enter the lock screen, PIN, password, or pattern. But only if the device was factory reset through a untrusted factory reset. So basically, if a factory reset was forced through the recovery mode. If you factory reset the normal way, which is going through settings, then you can give the phone to someone else or sell it, and they won't have to do any special thing to use that phone. But if someone steals your phone and they try to force a factory reset protection is supposed to kick in and prevent someone else from using that phone unless they have your credentials. Now, the problem is people kept finding ways around factory reset protection. It was heavily flawed. There are always new factory reset protection bypasses that skip the setup wizard, or installed some app going through these complicated setup process, and eventually you skipped the setup and you're able to use the phone like normal, kind of making it useless. So Google is taking steps in Android 15 to make it even more, to harden the feature. What they're doing is enabling the OEM unlocking setting in developer options will no longer prevent factory reset protection from activating. If you bypass the setup wizard, this is the big one, it will no longer deactivate factory reset protection. Instead, factory reset protection restrictions will still apply until you verify ownership of the device by signing in. Adding a new Google account is blocked when factory reset protection is enabled. Setting a new lock screen PIN or password is blocked. Installing new apps is blocked. And OEMs can choose to extend these protections by adding their own restrictions on top. So ideally, all of these restrictions will mean that will make it even harder, if not impossible, for thieves to steal and then resell devices. And, once thieves catch on that this is basically impossible to do, they'll have less incentive to steal devices because, they're not going to get anything out of it, not even money. And with all the other features that Google's rolling out on Android 15, like the theft detection lock, that's not actually tied to Android 15, but the theft detection lock, the remote lock, those other features that lock your device as soon as it's detected that it's stolen. Hopefully people stealing phones and getting data or getting money out of it will be a thing of the past.
Hopefully. I mean, so this is not, is this likely to be the kind of thing that is rolled out to previous versions before?
No, these are protections that are built in the core Android code.
So that's what kind of concerns me. I mean, yay, do things to prevent this in the long term, but it's going to be a long time before this makes an impact on the widespread thieving kind of behavior set, because there's still plenty of phones out there that aren't protected by something like this. So instead of not stealing, they're just going to continue stealing and end up with devices that they could do nothing with, throw it away, and then find something else. I'm guessing, anyways. But good step. Yeah, thieves like the plushie. Exactly. We don't like your kind plushie. You're too squishy and soft and comfortable.
With your cute little wobbly arms.
Yeah. And your pricey price tag. It
makes so much sense if you're not on the video stream. We're sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, audio listeners. Just go ahead and buy a plushie, and there you go. What you got, Win?
Oh, I have a mute button is what I have. And I have some Samsung One UI 6.1.1. So if you've been waiting, wait no longer. So the One UI 6.1.1 with the Galaxy AI bevy of features that we saw during Galaxy Unpacked were previously only available on certain models. Specifically, there's a lot of features that were exclusive to the Z Fold 6 and Z Flip 6, coming to now a whole bunch of series in the Galaxy lineup. This S24 series, S23 series, Z Fold 5, Z Flip 5, and Tab S9 are now going to get, with this update, a lot of the Galaxy AI features like interpreter with listening mode, one-way translation, chat assist, which is, basically Samsung Composer, which is used for generating drafts of emails and social media posts, suggested replies, which can allow you to do quick replies to any attached this is not a Galaxy Watch 7, but your Galaxy Watch 7 or Galaxy Watch Ultra, PDF overlay transition, sketch to image, sound search, portrait studio, instant slow-mo. All of these Galaxy AI features are now going to be being brought to non-Z Fold 6 and Z Flip 6 phones in the models that I previously mentioned. And that rollout is underway. One UI 6.1.1. We were already getting, or not us, but 9to5 Google, I think, were reporting they were getting people in the US, Europe, and India confirming that they are getting this update. So if you are on a Samsung and you want those Galaxy AI fabulous features, you might soon be getting an update. So make sure you click that button, update. Don't turn off your phone. That was a different thing. And yeah, let us know how you like them. But yeah, I guess that's kind of the thing though, is that when these features were first announced, and like with many AI features, you kind of wonder when the rest of us are going to get those. So Samsung actually is following through and kind of, broadening the reach of these new features, which were originally only for these super flagship devices. So there you go. Yeah.
Nice.
Wait for that one.
AI all over the place.
AI all over the place. Just splattered
all
everywhere.
over
Your
the place.
productivity, your creativity, your
Even Apple
generativity.
getting in on the AI thing.
Oh my gosh.
This
won't be the end of it either for
No.
AI news.
No.
Today or tomorrow. or any day in the future.
ever.
Or ever. Kind of pretty much.
Okay. Well, congratulations, some of you Samsung users, listeners. The EU top court doesn't like, apparently, that Google isn't offering third-party access to anyone who wants to get on the Android Auto platform. This stemmed from, what is it, an Enel, I think is what it's called, app called Juice Pass. And this is an app that wanted access to the Android Auto platform, but could not get it. Google was citing security concerns and a lack of a standardized template for Juice Pass to make its way to the Android Auto platform. The app is actually used for finding Enel, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, XEV charging points throughout Europe. So I could totally see why they would want to be in the Android Auto platform, but Google says no. Google, obviously, there's probably some good intention there in the sense that, Android Auto has the potential, it definitely has a safety component to it. You don't want to just make that platform open willy-nilly for anyone and everyone, and then things get messy. But, the EU is basically saying that the refusal is an abuse of market power, and I don't know. This is where we are right now. Big tech is really under the target of the EU regulators, and now in the US as well. So gonna see more of this kind of stuff, I think. Don't know if there's much more to say about that. And by the reaction of you two, it sounds like that is true. All right,
and that's all I got
Mishaal.
to say about that. Sorry.
We might have something to say about this next one, though. Mishaal, what you got?
Yeah, that's right. So actually, if you've been following the show from the beginning, you might remember one of our our very first sponsor was Awesome Privacy. And unfortunately, that company is no more. As of Friday, they have basically formally shut down and laid off most of their employees. So Awesome Privacy, actually, if you don't know, formed in 2020 after the disbanding of Essential, the company that was founded by Andy Rubin, who was the founder of Android. And that company got a lot of hype because they made the Essential phone, which was a nicely crafted device. I think it used titanium for its build, or it's titanium ceramic or something like that. And it had stellar software support, but it did not sell well because it had some issues with the phone itself, and also there was some controversy with the founder, who was, accused. There were allegations of sexual misconduct when he worked at Google.
Yeah.
Yada yada. And a lot of companies, a lot of people who worked at the company decided to splinter off and form Essential without the baggage of Andy Rubin and without the controversies that he had with him. So Awesome, their motto was they wanted to make privacy-focused products. And so they created two products. The Awesome Privacy Cable, which was the device, that USB-C cable with a switch that you could turn off data signaling. And they also created the Awesome OV1, which was a smartphone that was later rebranded as a Solana Saga and sold under partnership with the Solana cryptocurrency platform. Those two devices, unfortunately, were not enough for the company to stay afloat. And after being unable to raise money, the founder and CEO decided to, along with the other executives, to shut the company down. Because, they don't have enough money, you can't pay your employees, you can't keep everyone on payroll, right? So they made the decision last week to shut the company down on Friday. And this comes actually a couple of days after one of the former executives of the company, Mary Stone Ross, who was the chief privacy officer, actually filed a lawsuit claiming that the CEO basically used a lot of the company funds for his own personal spending habits. And the CEO, of course, denied those allegations and vowed to fight the allegations in court. But this shutdown is, kind of separate from that lawsuit. But, if the allegations are true, then it would explain part of why they're out of funds. But of course, they deny they're true. So we're just going to have to wait and see exactly what they say once they file their response in court.
Solana phone didn't really make too much of, or the Saga, I guess it's called, didn't really make a whole lot of dent in things.
It kind of shows that make a true from scratch hardware startup making a smartphone is extremely hard. All of the startup brands that we see have came with huge backers and or they're just a sub brand of a big company, right? I think the only other successful one that we've seen recently is maybe Nothing. But how much did Carl Pei win? I mean, he had a lot of connections, obviously.
He had sway.
Yeah.
Right. He had a lot of sway. But
He's
that's
not
the
just some
only one that I
random
can
person
really
that just
think
suddenly
of that's
stumbled on the scene.
actually a properly successful full-fledged startup making a smartphone in recent years, at least.
That's a really fair point. I mean, hardware has just so much more overhead costs. I mean, like, I mean, I've seen so many software startups, and I wouldn't say it's easy, but you don't have the same kind of like manufacturing logistics, like all those added additional costs and planning and like kind of considerations that it is regardless of whether, I mean, even like just giving, I guess, sympathy to companies like Huyen and things like that, we've talked about that, hardware is really hard. And there's probably a reason why there's a glut of service, software as a service, SaaS, or suffering as a service companies more than that are able to squeeze a living out rather than hardware companies. So yeah. And we did have Mary Stoneross on the show last year, didn't we? So anyway, yeah, that's hard. It's hard. Hardware is hard, so definitely sympathies there. It's a good point. It's not easy to succeed in hardware these days.
For those who did not know, OSOM, OSOM, stands for out of sight, out of mind, and now out of business. Sorry, that was horrible. Yeah, no, I don't like seeing a company like this fold so quickly, because I think there is a space in the market for small upstarts to do something different. And say what you will about the Solana Saga smartphone, I mean, it's attached to the blockchain technology, and it's possible that that's a part of the reason why it didn't do so well, because blockchain in and of itself is attached to crypto, and there's a certain bit of negative energy around that kind of stuff. From people who maybe don't understand the technology or do, and that's why they don't like it, whatever the case may be. But it was a little different, and that deserves to have a place. So it's a bummer to see it end like that, because I'd be curious to see what else they come up with,
And they had a lot of talented software folks working there too. Personally knew a couple of them who were from like the custom ROM community, actually. Like OSOM hired a lot of people who worked on like hobbyist projects originally. So kind of unfortunate to see, them get rid of so many talented folks.
Yeah, indeed. Totally feel that. All right. Well, I guess Huyen, you've got the patron pick this week.
That's right. And every week we ask our lovely patrons to pick from 3 stories for us to discuss. And also every week, to go with our patron pick, we have a lovely, or not necessarily patron, but anybody submitted hero image of our bug droid. And I absolutely loved this week. This week was by Bob Rissler. And we've got I hate to like use pop culture references, but if y'all have seen like Avengers Endgame, where they put on the suits, and is it too late for spoilers? Is it okay to? I mean, that was like 5 years ago or something, right? 4 years ago, some Endgame. Anyway, the bug droid is kind of like a Stargate Avengers Endgame theme, where we've got our intrepid bug droid wearing some kind of like space suit, interstellar travel, intertime travel suit. Who has a briefcase beside. Maybe it has like infinity stones in it. Maybe just some great Android devices from the future that we ain't seen yet. And of course, what does the bug droid do as soon as he enters through that portal? Well, he opens up the paper and reads some news about Android OS.
What's going on in this dimension?
What's going on in this dimension? Yes. So that is, my husband is a huge Stargate fan. So I couldn't help but show him this when I saw it. It's wonderful. Thank you so much, Bob. If you are audio only, we love you. But yeah, definitely go and check out the hero images that you listeners submit every week. They're amazing. But we do have patron picks to pontificate over. That's right. And we had 3 stories this week. And the least wanted, or the least voted rather, story was that a new gaming tablet has a 10,000 milliamp battery, a top-end chipset, and an internal fan. Who is this gaming tablet by? What is it? We don't know, and we're going to talk about it right now.
Yeah, we're never going to know.
You're not going to know. Number 2, at 24% of the vote, was Google is winning the right to repair race with Pixel 9 series manuals and guides. Well, that's great to hear, but unfortunately no details on that. You're going to have to Google that for yourself. But the winner of this week is actually pretty cool, and it is, of course, unsurprisingly, a story by our own Mishaal Rahman, and that is that Android 15 is not jumping the gun, but ahead of the curve in preparing a awesome new Bluetooth 6.0 feature. So Mishaal, as I understand it, Bluetooth 6.0, the specification was just announced like last week, but it looks like Android 15 already supports it. I don't know. Do you want to take the lead on this and just go ahead? Because it sounded like you were excited about it. So if I don't want to like make you cover your own story, but you seem pretty excited about it. So I don't know if you want to.
So the feature, the headline feature of Bluetooth 6.0 that got most people excited is called channel sounding, and it's basically a significantly more secure and more precise way to locate the distance between devices. So right now, if you have two Bluetooth devices, like how do you find out the location of another one? And this is really important because almost all of the Find My Device Network trackers currently use Bluetooth for actually locating them. Even the Moto Tag, which does support ultra wideband, that's not actually being used right now because the Find My Device Network doesn't use ultra wideband yet. So back on track. You got to use Bluetooth to locate them. And how do you make that happen? Like, how do two Bluetooth devices actually locate one another? Well, right now they use received signal strength. So they actually measure the signal strength as you're passing by. And that's terribly imprecise. It's not like precise at all within like even less than a meter or on the order of like centimeters, right? It's not very good at all. So they're working on a much improved way to measure the distance and location, and it's called channel sounding. And my article talks about how Google's already been preparing for this feature because it's already been in the works for a long time. Channel sounding, the Bluetooth special interest group has been talking about this feature for a long time, and it's now finally part of the specification in Bluetooth 6.0. And so Android 15 has a lot of work that shows that the OS is basically ready for it. They have hardware abstraction layer APIs that basically allow a device that has like a Bluetooth chipset, the drivers to talk to the OS. They have APIs at the framework level that allow the Bluetooth system applications to use those APIs. They have test applications that allow you to actually test channel sounding out. And so it's just talking about, that Google is basically ahead of the game. They are prepared for this feature to roll out because right now there aren't any devices that support Bluetooth 6.0 in the field yet. So unfortunately, if you actually want to take advantage of this feature, which will have great benefits for locating devices, like I said, for the Find My Device network, for finding the location of your digital car key, for finding your way inside a warehouse, for example, you're going to have to wait for devices to actually ship with Bluetooth 6.0 chips.
Would this allow me to find that still missing Pebble Bee tracker that I can't find, that is somewhere in the house, but Find My Device just will not tell me where it is other than it's here? That's a yeah. I don't actually expect an answer. I know the case there.
I mean, apparently, I think I wrote that it's accurate within 10 to 30 centimeters.
Yeah,
which is way better than what we have right now.
Yeah, 10 to 30 centimeters, like that. Sorry, audio stream listeners, like a foot, right? Ish,
yeah,
foot-ish.
Yeah, foot-ish.
So that's crazy.
My wife did actually end up getting a notification as if her phone had stumbled on a reported missing tracker because I reported it missing, even though I know it's in my house. I was like, well, what happens if I report this missing? And sure enough, her phone did light up and say, hey, there is a missing Pebble Bee tracker or whatever it said. And I was like, which room were you in? And I still, went in there and it still will not tell me where it is other than it's nearby. That's all it says. It says it's nearby. It doesn't give me a map, will not play the sound. Now it says low battery. So I'm thinking this thing might just be there forever, wherever it happens to be.
Oh.
Which is just hilarious because it's a tracker. This should be so easy, you guys.
Yeah, so I actually got the Moto tags whenever they came out. I'm sorry, it's been just a few weeks, and I actually lost mine like within 10 minutes of having it. And I only bring it up because I know Patron Techno mentioned that they got theirs this week. Buddy, I already have a low battery warning on my Moto tag, and it's been 3 weeks. I don't know why. Yeah, it's in my purse too. It's not in like a weird place. It's in my purse. So yeah, I don't know if Techno mentions in the chat tonight, but yeah, let me know if you have the similar low battery warning after a month.
I got low battery alerts on my Pebble Bee clip and tag, I think.
Yeah.
And I've only had those for a few months. They're definitely supposed to last like a year.
Did you top them off when you first got it? Like charge them up completely?
No.
Neither did I, because I thought, oh, well, I'm just going to Italy. And then when we get back, then I'll do the full charge and then they'll be good to go. But this is what happens when you don't charge a device.
Yeah.
So they probably put a very low amount of charge in it to begin with.
Yeah.
So the low battery, I mean, we probably all should have charged it before we used it the first time. We do that with our smartphones. We probably should do it with the trackers too. But
True.
Yeah.
But it was tempting because you think like, a year, that's a long time. So I'll just start using it.
If my Chipolos had a low battery, that would be concerning because those don't have rechargeable batteries.
Yeah,
Oh,
just like the
right.
Moto Tracker has like a CR23. Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
very unhappy about that. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I swung my purse around a lot too much, and I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, if any of you have the Moto Tag or any other tag and tracker tags, and are similarly and strangely experiencing low battery, write in and let us know. Write in and let us know. My goodness. Contact at androidfaithful.com. But we want to take some time also to thank you so much again for our lovely patrons who support us and who voted for those stories this week. And if you were curious about what that fabulous gaming tag was or how Google is helping the right to repair, and you wanted a little more sway on what we talked about, well, you can support us at patreon.com, just like our lovely patrons, Svein Joni from Norway. Sorry, Svein, if I mispronounced that, let me know. Scott Schabel, Vicky Poole, a longtime listener from back in the AAA days.
Vicky. Hi, Vicky.
Vicky, hi. Randy Rappin and Derek Holmes, thank you all so much for supporting us. We literally could not do this without you. And if you want to join their fine ranks, again, patreon.com/AndroidFaithful or head over to AndroidFaithful.com. But yeah, that's it for the news block.
So
Ba-bum.
many things for you to do with us in this show. Thank you so much. All right, we have some fun times ahead of us in hardware. That's coming up in a second. All right, it's time. I did not expect to be sold by this, but then I saw the news and that we're about to talk about, and I'm like, all right, I'm ready. I'm bring it on. What am I talking about, Win?
What are you talking about? Well, let me ask you a question
Like, I
first,
don't know.
Jason. What's better than 2 screens?
2.5 screens?
Close.
Oh, okay.
How about 3 screens?
We'll round up.
We'll round
Okay,
up
3
to 3.
screens.
So the big news today. Was it today or was it? Yeah, it was today. Huawei just announced the Mate XT Ultimate Design, a production triple foldable phone, y'all. So it's a triple foldable. So what does that mean? So rather than say your Pixel Folds or your other book style foldables like your Z Folds and OnePlus Opens, rather than having 2 sets of screens, an inner and an outer, this is a singular screen. And it has 2 hinges, one that folds up and one that folds down, kind of giving you more of a pamphlet-y feel. So when fully folded, it looks very much like a regular candy bar phone with a single let's say a single candy bar, sized screen in the front. If you open it, if you kind of do a first open, the first transform, you get what looks very much like a traditional book style foldable with what is like an outer screen as well as a kind of like dual screen inner screen. But it doesn't end there because it's not its final form yet, because you can actually unfold that front screen and fold it up, and then you get a triple size or triple phone size inner screen. It's insane. I mean, look at it. Look at this thing. Look at this thing.
So that's like the
if you're on the-
two-fold.
yeah,
And
so
then bloop.
And it is really cool because it is actually 3 devices in one. It very much is a regular candy bar phone mixed in with a book style foldable, because it's still in that book style phone. I don't know if the front screen is functional, but it looks like that. And then, of course, an almost tablet. I think it's pretty much like a tablet size device, like a smaller tablet size device.
10.1.
10.1.
That's not even a small tablet. That's like a normal size tablet in my.
It is.
in my
Yeah,
mind.
it's
10.1 's
amazing.
big.
So, there's a lot of screen. It's basically 3 phones in one. It basically has the price of 3 phones, because this does retail, if we translate to USD, to about $2,800. So it is not cheap. I mean, I know we talk about the price all the time, but this is not going to be a cheap. It's not going to be a cheap phone, y'all. It's $2,800. But I don't know. It really shows that I think especially Chinese companies and Huawei in particular are just hustling to dominate this like new category of
They're
devices, right?
loving the foldable thing.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. I know, like, I think when we talked about like numbers, that generally China is kind of where the foldable market is really, really taking off and kind of driving those kind of crazy numbers of growth that we've seen in the last couple of years of foldables. But, I mean, this is the kind of thing I think that not that I expected to see this from Samsung, but, I think we're in a good spot with the foldable market where I would like to see more things like this, even if it is $2,800, which I actually am not going to buy. I just think that this is kind of like the next stage.
I think it's also really cool that, we've always been saying that book style foldables, it's a phone that when you hold it and it unfolds into a tablet. Well, it's kind of always been a little bit of a lie because it's not really the tablet that most people think of when you unfold it.
Yeah.
This thing actually unfolds into like a wide tablet. Like this is the first foldable that's actually opening up into a tablet.
Proper tablet. 100%.
I mean, it's a proper tablet. And got to give credit to the folks at Gizmo China on YouTube who did a video that we've shown at least a couple of clips from that really kind of illustrates how this phone seems to operate. I'm really curious once it's all, in its most compact form, how thick, like I know that, they give specs on how thick it is and everything, but I want to like experience that and see like, is this going to be just like a huge brick in the pocket when it goes there or what?
Speaking of thickness, I saw, an interesting statistic that I saw is that this thing, when it's folded, is actually thinner than the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 5.
No way. Are you serious?
I'm serious.
That's amazing.
See, and that's why I love Samsung. I don't want to keep ragging on Samsung.
Wow.
I know, but
they need to put some Samsung magic on something new, y'all. Like, you can do it. I believe in you.
That's amazing.
There's a lot of tough competition in the foldable space, definitely.
They do. And I do think Huawei is definitely going for theirs and Apple's lunch, at least in the Chinese market. In terms of weight, I did look this up, and I think the Gizmo China video noted that this phone is not light. It's 298 grams. And to compare, say, like the Pixel 9 Pro, because I looked it up, is about 200 grams, so it's about 50% heavier. And, if you are rocking the new Pixel Fold, what is this? Pixel 9 Pro Fold. This is like 250. So it is a heavy phone. It is not going to be, you're going to notice that you have it, but dang if it's not cool. Also has in terms of other specs, 50 megapixel cam, ultra wide, 12 megapixel. Wait, there's two. Okay. 50 megapixel camera, 12 megapixel ultra wide, 12 megapixel periscope camera for Jason, an 8 megapixel front camera, 5600 milliamp battery, and I think that's actually there's 3 batteries in this device, which unsurprising because it's a threefold, and it has hefty RAM. It's got 16 gigabytes of RAM and comes in 256, 512, and 1 terabyte storage options, and of course AI features. So there you go. I mean, obviously we're not going to be able to put our hands on it. Too bad, because we probably have a good time with it, but it's amazing. I'm so excited.
Yeah, you know what never occurred to me before kind of looking at this with the trifold? In my head, I was always like, so what? It's a phone or it's a giant, honking tablet. It never occurred to me that you could go the mid step and just have the half fold experience, and that might be good enough for your folding out, kind of needs or whatever. And I don't know, for some reason that helps because we've become more used to that because we've seen a lot of the Z Folds, and I don't think that every time I would want to unfold my phone do I need a huge tablet to go into. Like sometimes I just might want to go to that larger but not largest. You know what I mean? So
I wonder, do you all see this as the beginnings of a laptop replacement? Because I do think in the Gizmo China video, they did note that a foldable keyboard accessory with trackpads in there. And I mean, at that price range, we're getting more expensive. I mean, we probably were more expensive at $1,800, like the usual price for book foldables. Probably more expensive than some nicer affordable laptops. But we're $2,800, you're really getting into that's a nice MacBook Pro range.
Yeah, that's an expensive phone.
It is. Could you ever see yourself though carrying one of these instead of a laptop in the far future, not like next year or whenever these come out? I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, maybe. I mean, you still have to carry around the attachment, but I mean, in that case, you'd still have to carry around a computer if you wanted to have a laptop. So it's easier, I suppose. I don't know that. I still don't know how I feel about I've got a phone and I can use it as a computer. I haven't seen the solution there yet that has me totally sold on that for myself. But I think Ron has been, had his times of like, oh yeah, that's what I want. I don't know. I think I'm still uncertain on that personally. I could see you rocking it, Mishaal. I could see you like making that work.
Doing all that riding in the airport, just Transformers.
It's like, no big deal. Transforms and, doing what you do.
Writes 10 articles in an hour.
Right. All right.
I wish
What
I
you
could
got,
do that.
Mishaal?
So speaking of really thick and thin folding devices, Honor, who is known for creating some of the thinnest book-style foldables out there, released yet another ultra-thin book-style foldable called the Honor Magic V3 at IFA 2024. So this is a very thin and light book-style foldable phone. It's only 9.2 millimeters when folded and weighs just 226 grams. So in comparison, the Z Fold 6, which I do love, by the way, it's a good phone, that is 12.1 millimeters thick, and it weighs 239 grams. So it's the Honor Magic V3 is just in another class when it comes to thinness and how much it weighs. Also, Honor does say that even though it's thinner, it is still more durable than even some slab phones like the S24 Ultra. They claim it has 40 times impact resistance, which is a wild claim to make. 36% the cover thickness reduced compared to the S24 Ultra, and it also has an IPX8 water resistance rating, so should protect against dips and splashes. The actual folding should survive 500,000 fold and unfold cycles. The hinge is also made out of Honor Super Steel, and the crease has a 78 micrometer crease depth, which they say is much smaller than the Z Fold 6 at 217 micrometers. The inner display is a large, expansive 7.92-inch display, 120 Hz LTPO refresh rate. And the outer display is a 6.43-inch display with a crazy 5,000 nits peak brightness, also 120 Hz LTPO. Both OLED, by the way, and also they have a whole bunch of eye comfort features, such as an AI defocus display that basically tries to reduce, when you're staring at your phone, you're not really focusing elsewhere. Your eyes get fatigued. They try to fix that using AI algorithms. They also have other AI comfort features like the circadian night display, dynamic dimming, pulse width modulation dimming, hardware low blue light, natural tone light, etc. And both screens support the Honor Magic Pen. The device is powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. It has a large 5150 milliamp hour silicon carbide battery. Charges up using 66 watt wired supercharge and 50 watt wireless supercharge. It has a neat triple camera setup on the back with a 50 megapixel telephoto camera, 3.5x optical zoom, 50 megapixel wide angle camera, and a 40 megapixel ultra wide angle, and also some AI features. One that recreates Harcourt portraits. I don't know how to pronounce this photography studio. And under the hood, the software is Magic OS 8.0.1 based on Android 14, with, of course, AI features throughout. It has a new Magic Portal feature that allows you to drag images to the side panel to open web pages, do price comparisons, navigate while you're searching, etc. You have AI two-way noise cancellation, phone to PC screen mirroring, face-to-face translations, real-time language translations, and AI eraser feature that lets you fill in the gaps with generative AI, kind of like Magic Editor on Pixel phones. The phone costs £16.99 British pounds or 2,000 euros. It's available in Europe and the UK, but not in the US. You can get it in a black, green, or brown color with 12 gigabytes of RAM and 512 gigabytes of storage. And that's it for the phone. There's also one other device, very briefly, the tablet. Jason, if you go to back to the newsroom, the press release, and scroll down, they also announced a tablet. That's the laptop, by the way. Keep scrolling. There's a tablet somewhere on that page. I think it's above, actually. The Honor Magic Pad 2.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
I don't know why they're not showing here. I think they do mention it. I don't know why they didn't show any renders. Anyways, on the Magic Pad 2, very quickly, it's a 12.3-inch tablet with a 3K resolution, 144 hertz refresh rate OLED display. It's also super thin and light, 5.8 millimeters thick and 555 grams. It has 8 speakers. It's powered by a Snapdragon 8S Gen 3, a 10,050 milliamp hour battery, 66 wired charging, and also runs Magic OS 8.0 based on Android 14. And it has most of the same AI features, but also some new stuff in the Honor Notes app, including formula recognition and handwriting beautification. This device costs, basically like you could scribble, your barely legible text handwriting, and then it'll beautify it and make it look pretty. This tablet costs €599 or 499 British pounds, and it comes in 2 colors, Moonlight White and Moonlight Black, with 12 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage.
Nice looking hardware, gotta say.
Yeah, the pearlescent back on that is real sexy. That Moonlight
nice hardware, questionable marketing, and no US availability, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I also want to point out, apparently, one of the new trends that we've seen in the last 2 stories is the circular camera bar, but with an octagonal kind of surround on it. Both the Huawei and the Honor are doing that this year. It's so funny how these trends suddenly emerge. Like, oh, we're doing it too. Oh, we're
the
doing
bump,
that too.
the hexagonal bumps. Yep. Them bumps.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. Very neat. Honor.
That's the British way of saying it, Jason.
Yes, I know.
Sorry, I know it's not.
Then it's landed in something. I don't know. But Honor, we would love to check out your products. We would give them a fair review. So hook us up. Okay, and then we've got other tech news or Android news to talk about from IFA. HMD Fusion is yet another thing shown off in Berlin, and this is kind of interesting, I thought. It received, and actually I'm not the only one, it received Best of IFA 2024 award by Android Headlines, at least. The specs are relatively mid-tier, maybe mid to mid-upper, somewhere in that regard. But what it is, and this article doesn't do a great job of showing it. I guess it's just this picture. The device has a series of metal pins down at the bottom, little pogo pinny things. And this allows for the attachment of customized shells that integrate into the hardware and to the software experience. So it could just be cosmetic, right? A different color set or whatever. Others are functional. So you can have one that it brings a Qi 2 charging capability to the phone, or a ring light attachment that works alongside the camera app. There's one that attaches there and it becomes a game controller for the device. And also, beyond that, it's fully open hardware. So HMD actually provides free resources. So you can actually use a 3D printer yourself and design something for the device. So that's kind of neat. It's it's somewhat repairable, customizable. This idea of like, here, we'll give you the blueprint and you can go ahead and 3D print your own things. I mean, how many people are actually going to do that? I don't know, but it's neat that you can.
Sell a man a phone and he'll have a cool swappable phone for 2 years. Sell a man a specification and you'll get an ecosystem, something like that. I don't know.
Oh, I've heard that one before. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's an old one. It's an old one.
That old saw.
I know we talk about marketing. I really like the marketing photo that was on the top of that Android Headlines article, where it is trying to show there's like an element of like fashion and coolness there, kind of not unlike the CMF phone, where there's kind of this idea of also just not just the modularity, but the coolness of modularity and what that brings you in terms of fashion. So the marketing photo is these very much life-sized shells kind of on hangers, as if in some very cool influencer's wardrobe, and there's a lady standing next to one kind of leaning on. These are probably not, of course they're not real, but they're like life-size shells. But kind of, but that's the vibe, right? Kind of like integrating fashion and personal expression as well as utility to a phone.
Sure.
So yeah, that upper lower mid, the upper lower premium whatever that
Yeah.
segment is,
Whatever that segment
that little
is.
band that we keep running into. So
Is this kind of like another friends approach? Who was the hardware company that had their friends that you could attach to it? Was that Motorola or maybe it was Lenovo? I can't remember who it was, but anyways, they had something. Whoever that was had something along these lines where it was like, yeah, we've got this little connector and you can attach, dedicated. Actually, not Essential, but Rubens before Essential, they had those kind of connectory things.
yeah,
right?
the little modular, the little.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned Project Era too. Oh, cousin of John mentioned Project Era, kind of Project Era.
Aura. Yeah.
Aura. Sorry, my bad.
Sort of. I mean, yes, in the sense that you can attach something to it. Aura. Yeah, I don't know if it was Aura or Era, but it went on a much deeper level.
Yeah,
it
like
was like
the
here's
memory,
all
like
these
the-
different things.
Yeah,
you can
the
do,
memory module, like
swap
really,
out.
like yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how deep you can get into the internals here, if at all. Like, I don't even know if the battery is removable necessarily, but still, it's different. We'll see. HMD Fusion. Mishaal, what you got? We have a lot from this because this was the week of IFA, so there was just a bunch of announcements tied to it.
That's right, Jason. So Qualcomm's CEO did an interview with CNBC and revealed that the chip designer is working with Samsung and Google, which we already knew, but specifically what kind of device they're working on. And they're working on mixed reality smart glasses. So this is a different approach than the Apple Vision Pro or the Meta Quest, which are both standalone headsets. Instead, Qualcomm, Samsung, and Google are working on basically companion devices to your smartphone. And that's all we really know. Like, they didn't reveal any details of this partnership, anything about the software or the actual hardware of the device, just what kind of device. And I kind of saw this coming. Like, if you look at what they've been doing with Android, having your phone power the actual thing that's running on your smart glasses makes a whole lot of sense because, to get any sort of actual graphical fidelity on like your face and like any processing power, the Apple Vision Pro is a heavy headset. It is huge and bulky. And to make it last even a couple hours, you need a big battery, which Apple cleverly solved by having a literal battery come out of your side and plugging it in,
Battery
right?
pack.
There are so many like
Yeah.
caveats with
many.
standalone VR and mixed reality headsets that like
Yeah.
I do see this approach of having these AR glasses as companions and basically wirelessly streaming apps and stuff from your phone as like kind of a clever approach. We'll have to see if it's actually successful because they haven't launched this product yet, but I do think it's a sensible approach to take.
I think it's funny that he says, quote, "What I really expect to come out of this partnership, I want everyone that has a phone to go buy companion glasses to go with it." Yeah, you keep wishing. That's a tall order, I think. I don't think everybody's going to do that. It's a small percentage of people who would be willing to do that at this point. Maybe somewhere in the future, but that's a long ways down the road. But got to start somewhere. There you go.
Well, we got some more stuff coming out of, is it IFA?
IFA, I think.
IFA.
I've always said IFA.
IFA. So, or we already talked about the amazing trifold. So if you just want tech up in your face, just like triple tech in your face, and you can get a Huawei, you've got the Huawei Mate XT. But if you're looking for more of the opposite, if you're looking for a digital detox, and you also are an e-ink style fan, which I am. I think Jason, you are too. We talked about some TLC devices before, but at IFA, TCL unveiled the TCL 50 Pro NXTPAPER 5G and a non-pro TCL 50 NXTPAPER 5G. So if you're not familiar or it's been a while since we talked about it, the NXTPAPER technology is pretty cool. The screen is meant to have a very paper-like feel. It's like it significantly reduces glare. It's got a matte finish. So it's really meant to kind of give you that more e-inky kind of style, although it's not like an e-ink screen. It's just like the screen tech. But
Ooh, that's so cool watching it.
It is cool. Now
Yeah.
now like the Mate XT though, this does have a little bit of a transform because there is a NXTPAPER key, which is a physical button, and it allows you to hot swap from an actual, traditional Android interface to an e-ink smartphone experience. And I know we've talked about one of these devices before on the show, but basically a lot of apps will be kind of like disabled, apart from like core apps like phones and stuff like that. I think even like camera. And everything kind of goes into like a more like a e-ink kind of graphical pen and paper kind of style rendering.
Monochrome, yeah.
And yeah, so that is your digital detox. It really is. And I think like, for example, I was like looking at a books maybe for like at night when I really should be reducing blue light and kind of not doom scrolling on Instagram or watching videos and just doing things like reading. And so if that is kind of your jam where you want both the functionality, but also that kind of less plugged in mode, but you don't want 15,000 different devices, which unfortunately like I'm falling into the trap of, take a look at the TCL 50 Pro NXTPAPER 5G. At least if you're in Europe, because you're going to definitely get that. TCL did say that the phone won't be coming to the US in 2024, but hopes for another year. But yeah, it's still a very decent phone. It has AI, not surprising. It's got usual things like a text assistant to translate and summarize text, voice memo, which is pretty much like their version of Pixel Recorder, and not bad specs. So the display is 6.8 inch display with a 120 hertz display rate, refresh rate rather. MediaTek Dimensity 6300 chipset, 8 gigabytes of RAM, 512 gigabytes of storage, a 5010 milliamp battery, and 108 megapixel primary camera sensor. I think I wrote that down, right? 108? Yeah, 108. It says so on the camera unit.
108.
108, and it'll be coming to Europe this year for 299 euros. That's about 331 for us USD people. So yeah, I also want to say though, if you can't see the phone, I love that the NXTPAPER thing is kind of reduced glare, paper-like feel, trying to get you like to kind of like slow down and digital detox. But if you look at the back of that phone, it is shiny AF, yo. Like if you wanted a little sparkle, TCL got sparkle in the back, and then business, like digital detox business in the front. Like it is shiny. It is shiny. So it has all of your needs. But yeah, anyway, it looks like a really cool phone.
Yeah, it does. I'm curious. Like, I love that the transformative, if you go to the Android Authority article that we are kind of linking to, they have one of their like videos, a YouTube short that shows the transformation from the standard mode to the NXTPAPER kind of e-ink mode. And it's a cool process. Like I'd be pushing that all the time.
Yeah.
Just to watch it. Pretty neat stuff. And then finally, from the world of things that actually exist to something that doesn't quite exist yet, but it's going to, because every year Samsung releases an Ultra Galaxy device. The Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra is now getting a little bit of the leak attention. Expected to release as usual January, February 2025, which strangely is not very far from now. Has flat sides this time around, so we are firmly back in the trend of flat display sides. I remember when this was the case, at other times too. Similar to what we've seen with the Pixel 9, of course. Similar, of course, to the iPhone design for the last handful of years. Camera hardware similar to the last model, the S24 Ultra, which I felt like has really great camera system on it. But the ultra wide is getting a really big upgrade. Upgraded 50 megapixel sensor with a wider f to 1.9 aperture. That's compared to the f2.2 aperture on the previous version. So definitely getting an improvement there. And Android Headlines, who wrote the article that we're referring to right now, did mention that it's possible that this means that every camera on the device would then be capable of 8K video recording. And how you switch between them during a recording, that's a question, if that's even offered by them, but they were just speculating. But that's kind of crazy. It's going to be a little bit smaller than the S24 Ultra, also a little bit lighter, even though the screen size is staying the same, staying at the 5,000 milliamp hour battery point. But yeah, the S25 Ultra. I mean, year after year, I'm a sucker for the Galaxy Ultra series. The last handful of years, I usually really, really like them. And the fact that they're going the flat design, I'm probably going to really like the device when it comes out. So yeah, there you go. There you go.
It looks good. It looks good.
It does look good.
They just keep us on our toes with.
Oh, I guess there is another kind of. Oh, it's one of the rotating render videos sort of things. Kind of shows
Maybe
the sides to
space.
also be pretty shiny, but who knows? So yeah, there you go. Had to know it was coming at some point, and you probably aren't going to have to wait too long for it. All right, we have some app news to throw around, and then we'll round things out with tonight's episode, starting with you, Wen.
Yes, and if you wanted a little more search in your Google Photos and a little more Google Photos in your search, we got some, well, not us personally, but Google Photos has got some stuff going for you. So rolling out soon is actually a new way to search your photos in Google Photos, and it's just more along the lines of kind of this increased power of AI and allowing us to express ourselves as users more naturally to the apps that we use every day. So I know how many times have you probably gone to Google Photos and looked for maybe some, vacation photos from, say, Hawaii or something like that, and you just type in a location and hope. Well, this time you can start saying things like, "Hey, Google," and well, not "Hey Google," but sorry. Oh my God, I just stuffed everybody's junk. I'm
probably.
so sorry, y'all.
It's okay.
I'm so sorry. But in Google Photos, instead of saying that, you can actually say type more kind of naturalistic questions like kayaking on a lake surrounded by mountains. So nothing specific, just kind of like the idea of what you're looking for. Emma, painting in the backyard is like an example they also give, or things like that. And also, you can also more easily search for like sort results by date or by relevance. So really just trying to make your photos, which we all probably have thousands and thousands and thousands of by now, a little more accessible and accessible in a more natural and searchable in a more natural way. The improved search experience is rolling out in English to all users on Android and iOS. There you go, iOS fams, love to you too. And it will be expanding to more languages in the coming weeks. So as you get that update, just try kind of experiment with maybe kind of more like as you would ask like a normal person, not a normal person, like a regular human being, what kind of photos you're looking for. Try that and see, how it works out for you and your probably massive, phone taken photos that we all have now.
Yeah, it's just more granular now. Like I was playing around with it earlier, and I did, Jason at Christmas time, and it did a really great job because I knew it was going to have, different years, and and there are some of the pictures that it pulled back that were Christmassy but weren't on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve. But like we went to a restaurant a couple of weeks before, and it was all decorated, and those were in there. And yeah, it was pretty impressive. I love that.
Yeah, there's one that okay, so that's actually not it. So in terms of like the reverse, where we're getting photos to help us with our search, there's a new Google Labs experience called Ask Photos that is being rolled out to select users. And again, that's Google Labs. And again, it's the idea that, and this might sound creepy and kind of hit your buttons on Google, it has too much of my information, but instead of using kind of enhanced search and AI to make your finding photos better, Google is looking to use Ask Photos to kind of process information within your Google Photos to help you kind of search information about your life. Not to make it sound creepy, but kind of like the reverse, basically. Just being able to pull out information, process your photos, pull out information, and allow you to answer questions like, where did we camp last time we went to Yosemite? Or what did we eat at the hotel in Stanley
while we were there? That's so weird.
I actually really want this right now because next week in New York there is an izakaya, which is like a Japanese style like gastro pubby thing. And there's one place we went. It was Midtown. I never remember the name of it, but I know I went there with some friends, and all I wanted to ever do was ask Photos, hey, what was that izakaya we went to in Midtown New York that one time with Brian and Joanna? And now, at some point, if I ever get this, or if I'm in Google Labs, I will. But that's kind of the idea, is that you can get information from your photos as opposed to, giving photos more information to get the photos that you want. And there is, in their post announcing it, Google does try to say, express that their commitment to security and privacy, and letting you know that, your data in Google Photos is not used for ads, and that your data is protected, and that your queries might be reviewed by humans, but only after being disconnected from your Google account to protect your privacy. So, I mean, if you're worried about it, definitely go read their statement. Whether that kind of satisfies your kind of worries or not, we'll see. But if you are interested, there is a waitlist to join Ask Photos. I might actually sign up just because I'm curious, because I need this kind of functionality. I find myself wanting to ask these kind of questions all the time. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, a couple things
I
for you.
signed up for the waitlist.
Yeah.
What I'm looking at the video, and it looks like this is an interface. This search interface is inside Google Photos.
Yeah.
Since it's being powered by Gemini, like, wouldn't it be better if they add like an extension to the Gemini app, so you don't have to remember, oh, I have to open Google Photos specifically to search for it. You could just, say the naughty word and then start talking to your Gemini from your phone at any time and say, hey, pull up that photo of that one time, yada yada.
That's a good point. There actually is, sorry, and
point.
I mentioned there is a conversational mode, so you can kind of keep talking to it to like filter or like redirect results. But I had the same thought, Mishaal. I was like, now I have to wait. Now there's more things that I have. Yeah, there's Gemini in more places, but that's more places I have to remember where Gemini
Remember,
is.
you go over there for that thing, and then you go over there for that thing. Yeah,
That's a good point. It's
I mean, it's only because it comes up right now, but I will reference the Apple event from yesterday, and that was one thing that I really noticed in Apple's approach that I think is interesting in contrast with Google's approach, which is it seems like what Apple's doing with Apple Intelligence is they're taking that AI kind of layer and having it touch into, like, embedded into the OS and then touch into all the apps that it works with, versus Google's approach, which is very much like, oh, we put AI into the apps that you want it to be. So if you're already in the app, then the AI is waiting for you. And it's kind of two different approaches to my knowledge. And I'm curious to see which one is actually the better experience, for a user.
Wow. It is experimental, so if you're in it, I guess give feedback to Google if you find that you're just being fragmented. Oh, the other kind of fragmentation. Not Android versions, like feature fragmentation. Yeah, it's like fair. Yeah, so let them know.
Let them
feedback. Feature feedback. Wait, never mind.
Other app news, Google Search widget soon getting a customizable button, possibly. Anyways, at least it's being tested. So this is, the little search widget that you have down at the bottom of your phone, possibly with the little Google logo, and it has the lens button and the little voice, voice entry button. Well, some people are getting a little plus button appearing there. And if you tap that, you are able to add at least only one extra feature to that bar. So something like translate text, song search, weather, translate with the camera, or finance, or just a couple of those things that you can customize with. You can change kind of the theming of it and, transparency and all that kind of stuff. And, it has a little area where you can actually select what is the shortcut that I want to put into there. Again, this is not something that everybody is getting. It's just being tested right now. So possibly someday in the near future, you'll be able to customize that widget and add your own favorite, quick launch item there. That could be beneficial. It's no function button, but it's cool. It's cool.
Do you remember the days when the bar you could actually type into it and just search for it?
Oh, right.
And now it's just a landing place for all kinds of icons. Just all the functionality.
That's true. There's all that space and you can't type into it. So, man, maybe at some point, it's just going to be another launcher at a certain point, right?
It's going to be a launcher. Search widget. No, really, use the search widget.
It's just launching.
Yes, I know if you tap onto it, a version that you can type into appears, but didn't that used to be a thing you could, like, right from the home screen? It's been so long. I can't remember anymore.
I feel like I remember that, but maybe it's warped. I don't know.
It's kind of like your appendix. It's like the Android appendix or something. It's like this vestigial thing that we still have, but we're starting to evolve out of it. And then every now and again it causes issues and you have to have it removed.
So, Android 18, they're going to announce a new extra launch bar down there. And it won't be a search. It won't have anything to do with search anymore. It's just going to have a whole row of buttons of your favorite Google search features. And it's going to basically be the same thing.
And it'll be powered by AI completely.
Yes. And you'll never have to tap it because it'll know what you want.
It'll stare into your eyes and read your soul. and then launch YouTube.
All right, Mishaal, what you got?
So Google announced, I think today actually, 3 Chrome updates to basically better organize their tabs. So the first thing, this is actually already available on Android and desktop operating systems, is that tab groups are now available on iOS.
Yes.
The second thing they announced, tab groups, I use them all the time.
I do too. Yeah.
The second thing I've been using a lot more recently and has already rolled out on PC is the ability to save tab groups. You'll be able to do that soon on Chrome for Android and iOS. So this feature allows you to basically, after you name a tab group in Android, it'll automatically be synced to your Chrome on your desktop, and you'll see it on like the left of the bookmarks bar. And that's incredibly useful if you don't want to actually like permanently save a tab or a set of tabs as bookmarks. You just want to temporarily have them, and then like you want to get through what you're already doing later, and then just close them out and they're gone. Very useful feature. And the last thing Google is working on is they're experimenting with suggesting pages to revisit based on tabs that you previously opened up on your other devices. So this feature will Chrome will proactively suggest pages for you to revisit on the new tab page on Android, iOS, and desktop. So like if you opened a page, like you have a whole bunch of devices, you have different tabs open on each of them, but you're using your desktop today, right? Chrome on the new tab page will say, hey, here's that tab that you opened up a couple of days ago on your phone. You want to look at that again? And it'll suggest you continue using that tab.
Okay. Okay. That could be useful, I suppose. I feel like that's one of those things that I'll probably never even notice. You know what I mean?
We're gonna have this debate again. Who's the biggest tab hoarder of them all?
Not me. I have a new phone.
How many tabs? I have. Yeah, I'm on a new phone, so I have I think 1 open tab right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm on a new phone also, but I'm willing to check. I'm super curious now that you bring it up.
Sorry, to go back to the, I know we're running long.
8.
If you all go to Google Photos, do you still see the year scroller? Because in Google Photos, because Pac Northwest, Fallstar, and Twitch asked about it in Google Photos, like on your phone. Asked about the year scroller in Google Photos.
On the phone.
Yeah. So I just tried it on my brand new Google Fold, and I see like the scroll head, and I see the list of years, and every single time I try to move it, Photos is crashing for me every single time on my
Works
new
for
Fold.
me.
Oh shoot! What's wrong with my new Fold? Photos is broken.
What's wrong with your phone? Your
What's wrong with my
phone?
Yeah, it works for me.
You're missing it. Okay, sorry. So Pac says he's missing it on the browser on desktop. Sorry, I was talking about on my phone.
I was just looking on desktop also, and I have it for what it's worth.
Oh, I might screen cap. This is crazy, y'all. Okay, I'll see if there's an update. Maybe Winnie just needs to update. My bad.
I think what you need to do is just throw away your phone. I think it's garbage now.
Do you want it?
Yeah, just throw it in the trash. I don't even want it. Just throw it in the trash.
Oh, yeah.
It's trash. No, don't do that.
I don't know how to transition from that. You know what's not
You
trash?
don't need to.
You know what's not trash? Meta, well, I guess, so Meta, in response to the DMA, which is the Digital Markets Act, which is like the European Union's law, which has spawned many of the legal battles that we've discussed in the last 2 to 3 years. In response to that, and in trying to comply with the DMA, Meta is opening support to allow for third-party integrations on WhatsApp, so allowing WhatsApp to be interoperable with third-party messaging services and apps. And it kind of outlined a plan for this integration with third parties, both for text messages as well as calling, as well as voice and video calling, as well as how it's going to message the integrations and onboard users into these integrations. So yeah, they're planning to support third-party chats by 2025. And unfortunately for voice and video calling, third-party integration, you'll have to wait till 2027, but it's in the books and it's by law in the EU. And if you go to, say, like TechCrunch's article, you can kind of see what their plan for notifications will be. So if you are a WhatsApp user, when these integrations become available, you'll start seeing little cards and notifications that let you know, hey, you can message your friend on Blurb, or hey, like, this integration is available, and you'll see it very clearly, and it will have a onboarding flow, which will allow you to say, integrate these messages into a combined inbox, or allow you to kind of filter them out into a separate folder. But that's just the plan as Meta is laying it out for third-party messaging integration. And so this is their plan. And the execution of this plan, of course, is always going to be the question. And, having these specs and APIs is one thing. It's going to be another thing whether messaging operators and TechCrunch gives the example, say Viber and Telegram, will actually support them. And WhatsApp is requiring end-to-end encryption for this third-party interoperability. But again, end-to-end encryption does kind of put more technical burden on the integrators. So we'll see how that goes. But hey, they're planning to do it. They're showing their work. I guess they're showing their plan of work.
You asked them to dance. They're dancing.
Or at least they're showing you their dance card.
Yeah.
And what they plan to do, a little salsa,
a video
cha-cha-cha.
of what their dance looks like.
Yeah, we'll see if they fall flat in their face or not. I'm not saying anything bad about WhatsApp. Just we'll see. It's a plan, but there you go.
Interesting. All right. Oof. Man, this was a chunky episode. We had a lot of news to talk about.
So many good things.
We still have some feedback to talk about, but that's going to come up in a second. Okay, that was more than a second. That was a few of them, but it was worth it, I promise. contact@androidfaithful.com is the email address if you want to send us an email. Like friend of the show, Sam Abul Samad, who wrote in to say, I'm catching up on Android Faithful from a couple of weeks ago when you talked about end of support for Android Lollipop, and thought I'd share this image from a device we have that's still running Jelly Bean 4.2.2, the infotainment system in my wife's 2017 Honda Civic. There it is, proof. He's got the proof there, 4.2.2. Look at that. I wonder if you tap on it, a bunch of times, if it does something.
You go into developer mode.
Yeah, go to developer mode. And
oh my god, that's so beautiful. Look at that. Look at that icon. Look at that hollow. Hello, hollow. It's been a while.
Yeah. Oh, that totally is. It's super hollow, isn't it?
Super hollow. HOLO, not HOLO.
Remember when that looked future?
Like on the Nexus, was it the Nexus first have the hollow? Was that right? One of the Nexis? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Yeah, I think 4.0, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Oh, it looks so sexy, and it had that live wallpaper that had similar like neon lines. Anyway, it was a vibe. Yeah, it was cool. Great. It was cool. Oh, good days.
Look at that. And he still gets to enjoy it week after week. Or his wife does, anyways. Sam, thank you for sending in the email. It's great to hear from you. All right, Mishaal, you got the last one.
Our last email comes in from Chuck in Thousand Oaks, who wrote in to say that I watched a video about hacking and phishing attacks on phones via messaging. The biggest hurdle for the hacker is determining if a phone number is a number in use or not. Once they determine if a number is live, then they are 50% of the way to hacking the device, according to the video. The traditional way to determine if a phone number was in use was to send in, quote, innocent-looking text like, quote, are we going to meet for lunch this week? The purpose is to see if the text gets any kind of response like, quote, who is this? And once they do, they now know it's a live phone, I'm assuming they wanted to say, and the race is on. They're halfway into hacking the phone. With RCS, however, they don't need to get a response from the user because RCS does that for them. Confirmation of delivery and message read is right there for the bad actor to see. So the question is RCS more dangerous for people that aren't super aware of hacking attempts? And
that's a good question.
That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
I guess it's technically true. You can get read receipts by sending a message. I don't know if... Yeah. I mean, I guess to be fair, I don't know if I would say that is 50% of the way to hacking your phone.
Yeah, I don't know that
that still requires the person to respond to the phishing attempt itself. And yeah, it is like a common thing. Like if you get a scam call or a call you suspect is from a scammer, you don't pick up the phone because you don't want them to know that you're a target because you don't want to get more scam calls. I guess, I mean, if you're getting, I get a whole bunch of spam texts, mostly like political texts asking me to donate, but like, I
get the messages that he's talking about every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, as long as you don't click on anything, that is the biggest thing, right? You're not 50% of the way there. Once you click, you're 100% of the way there.
Well, and
Yes.
it might not even be clicking anything. Like what they're looking for sometimes, it's like, because there's a million different ways you can get scammed or whatever, but sometimes they're just looking to create, in a social engineering perspective, establish a relationship of some sort with you to then be in a trusted situation where it's like, oh, God, I have this thing. I need this money. Can you go to the bank? Like my mom almost fell for it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thankfully, she did not. But, sometimes it's not even technical at all. It's just, how can I hook someone? So saying 50%, like, yeah, I have a problem with that, because that implies that like half the game is getting the person to respond. The other half is just as, is as easy as like, all right, and scam them. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff that happens in that window. But still, I understand the
Pig
point.
butchering. I forgive the name, but that's what it's called. Pig butchering schemes. I suppose it's like 50% in the same way that, and I don't fish. I apologize. Maybe I'm wrong about this, but like you're fishing, getting the little wiggle on the end of the line is one thing, but
you're
then
getting a bite.
Then the reeling, I believe the reeling is the hard part, right, y'all? Fishing people back me up on this, maybe.
Yes.
So I guess in a sense that is, you get to a step. There's a next step to that. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've definitely got a lot of pig butchering initiates, and also the scammy link initiating text and RCS. But again, I guess it does come down to like literacy, scam literacy, and just knowing to report and block. So I don't know. It's a great question though. It's a fantastic question. No idea. On like overall, yeah, it's called pig butchering. I don't know why. It's just it's it's rightfully horrifying
violent.
though. It's very, I know.
So violent. Yeah. So thank you, Chuck. That's a good question. I mean, it's a very valid concern, and the fact that RCS does announce for you when you've read. If there's RCS on both sides, it does say that you've read something, and that might be, one less step that they have to take. So it's certainly a concern. So there we go. Contact at androidfaithful.com, and you can be immortalized in the form of a podcast. Like the one that we do, and we are about to end with.
That's it. That is it for this week. And we do this show every week, and Jason always works very hard on the post-po, as we're calling it now. By the way, join early on the live stream for sometimes usually very fun, but today extra special fun pre-show banter, where we come up with things like post-po, which is what Jason does every week. Jason, what else do you do every week that people should know about?
Oh, I do pre-po and post-po of my own series of things outside of Android Faithful, like the Techsploder podcast. Last week I spoke with, had a conversation with Doc Rock. This week's episode is with Sarah Lane, and I've already recorded it. I got the, I do these exclusive recordings with patrons. And it was just such a fun conversation. I did not want it to end. We were having such a great time. But alas, she does the Daily Tech News show, and had to go and do that show. So that's going to be this Thursday. Go to techsploder.com, which is the website that has the podcast. It also has, all of my video content that I'm doing on the YouTube channel, also called Techsploder. And and then AI Inside with Jeff Jarvis. But yeah, I'm keeping very busy.
And we know the man Mishaal's always busy. Mishaal, what you working on and want to let the people know about?
If you want to find out what's happening in the world of Android, you can follow me on the socials at Mishaal Rahman on X, Mastodon, Threads, Reddit, etc. My username is usually the same on all the platforms. But if you want to support the work that I do and join the Discord community that is actually surprisingly very vibrant and a lot of people are talking in it, go to patreon.com/MishaalRahman. I frequently post there little nuggets of information that I find in Android, and also teasing the things that I'm working on. Hopefully I'll have some big story out tomorrow. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Do you ever get
forward to
tips
that.
through your Discord?
Oh
Like,
yeah,
do
all
you
the
have,
time.
like,
Well, mostly
insiders
about
that
like
are
things
okay.
rolling out.
Oh,
But like,
okay.
yeah. No, I don't get anything juicy like that.
Yeah, juicy nuggets like, hey, I'm part of your community. I decided you should have this.
Yeah.
Right on. And what about you, Win? Uh-oh.
I
you
lost the
permanently-
mute button.
That's what that look was.
that was a oh god, I'm trying to wrap the show and I lost the mute button. Yeah, so I am an Android dev. That is my day job, and you can find technical talks like the one I'll be writing for next week. Oh my gosh, I'm so busy, y'all. I'm writing a technical talk, like other technical talks that I've done for DroidCon New York next week, and you can find my previous talks at my website randomlytyping.com, and find me on the socials at Queen Code Monkey or at Queen Code Monkey at androiddev.social. And yes, but that is it for this week. That is us.
Yeah, real quick, can I just say one thing real
Yeet.
quick? Because we've been talking about how next week is DroidCon. It is, but we will have a normal episode on Tuesday. Like, we leave for DroidCon on Wednesday. Right? This is right? We're normal episode next week?
Yeah. I mean, it's our flights are on Wednesday. My flight's Wednesday morning.
I just want to make sure that listeners and viewers don't confuse. Like, we are going to be at DroidCon next week, but it's the tail end of the week, so we will have a normal episode on Tuesday. Then we're going to be doing our DroidCon-y stuff and everything. So, stay tuned for the rest of that stuff following next week's normal episode. That's all.
We got content for y'all.
Oh yeah,
Content.
content.
But that is the end of the show for this week. Stay tuned for all of our DroidCon excitedness and other content. And you can do that by subscribing to us on your podcatcher of choice. We are everywhere. Go to androidfaithful.com to see all the amazing articles and content written by folks on the team, specifically Mishaal and Jason and Ron and occasionally by myself.
Interviews. Yeah.
And interviews by myself.
stuff.
But that's it. Yeah. Email us, contact at androidfaithful.com for all your stories, complaints, and everything. But that's it for us this week. We're the Android Faithful, and that's us. See you.
See you next time.
Oh yeah. I like the Android plushy faithful dance. That's so cute. I like it.
Love it. It just looks so squishy and comfortable. Okay. Let's get this title thing out there, because there's a little something that came on at 6:00 that I saw our numbers drop by like 30%.
That's fair. Y'all are
I wonder what that was.
I
wonder what that was. I have no idea. But I'm super curious, and I've held off on looking into it. My wrist is a display. Over gesturification.
We did that one before.
We did that one
right?
already.
Yeah,
Thank you,
I think we
though.
have that a
We
couple
did
of
that
weeks
one.
ago.
Thank you,
Something
though.
along those lines. Awesome, no longer awesome. Oh, wide, not chunky. Chunky watches versus thin wrist crew. Pixel watch Jim Bro test.
That's the new shit.
Nice.
That's the new channel.
What's better than 2 screens? 3. Oh, I kind of like that. Nice hardware, questionable marketing. Detox in the front, sparkle in the back. I like
do
that
like
one
that.
too.
I do like
That's
that.
good. Let's see here. Asking like a normal person. Top and two wool.
Top and twelve. Like my nose.
Top and twelve. Oh,
Twelve.
okay. That one's hard.
I got it, dude. Thank you.
Good job, cousin. Insert awesome pun here. Hardware is hard. That's a classic that never dies. Trackers can't be tracked. That's too true. Too real.
Too soon.
Huawei Rand McNally foldable phone.
Nice.
Nice. Circular octagon camera trend. You ask them to dance. They're dancing. I lost the mute button.
That's just a fact of life.
Detox in the front, sparkle in the back is good. What was the other one? What's better than 2 screens? 3.
Oh, that's a close one.
Yeah.
Because
I like both
that
of
is a
those.
huge news. That is huge newsy. Not that TLC doesn't deserve huge newsy. I am stuck in my head. What the?
Yeah. I could do either of those, or another one if someone feels strongly about something. Yeah. No one's jumping on him.
Detox in the front, sparkle in the back.
Yeah, that's got a title-y kind of feel to
Yeah.
it. I like that.
I like
That
it.
is good. Okay.
Thank
so
you, Lyle, for the
Detox
title.
in the front, sparkle in the back.
Put that little the icon, the emoji
the
that
sparkle emoji.
David Amell hates. The AI
yeah,
sparkle.
yeah.
Sparkle. Yeah, we won't even put the word there. It'll just be the emoji. Now, I mean, unless that's going to get us extra SEO, then I'd do that, but I don't think it will. All right. We are good. I'm going to go ahead and stop this now so we can kind of move on with the interesting evening. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for watching and listening. Y'all are awesome. Great to have you here, and we will see you next time.